Alright guys, we went out today, we brought the kayaks out, we caught us a mess of crappie. We're going to do a couple videos cleaning them. I'm going to clean one with this 4-inch Rapala fishing fillet knife. I'm going to clean this guy, this is a 14-incher. Trenton here is going to clean one with the electric knife, it's also a 14-incher, so you can see if you don't have one, you can do it with whatever you've got. So, yeah. Alrighty. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean this one here. Like I said earlier, it's 14-inch crappie. Got a bowl of water sitting off here to the side to put the fillet in to keep it clean, get it washed off. You just got a clean surface here. This is 4-inch knife. Most important part, sitting right down here at my feet, it's the garbage disposal cap to take care of the scraps. So I'm going to go ahead, cut in right here behind the head. Come back down the front of the rib cage, come out the bottom. Put my hand on it to keep it nice and steady. Make sure I don't go across the backbone. Have a cat come up and take a sniff. I go all the way down and I don't come out until I get to the tail because I want to get all the meat along the backbone. I want to be able to read a newspaper through this. This is what you're going to do, or what I like to do whenever I only have a couple fish and I want to make get the last bit of meat off of them. When you got a big mess, you're going to get all the you're going to have all the meat that you need, so you don't need to do this. You can just go ahead and get it with the e-knife. Alright, so we're just going along, riding the backbone, making sure that we're not leaving any meat until I get right down here. I'm going to stand it up so you can see it. Stand it up here so you can see it. And I'm just riding along the backbone there. That way I'm not losing any meat between there and the actual spine, or between the spine and the vertebrae. It's not as bad on crappie as it is on a lot of other fish. Bass are really bad, catfish are really bad. You'll leave a piece of meat there. It's so bad that whenever we clean them with an e-knife, we'll fry up the backbones as well. That way we make sure we get it. But you can just go along right there. Once you're through and over the backbone, you can plunge it through and right out. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to go over the top of the ribs. Since I've got this little standard knife here, I can go right over the top of those ribs, pop those little Y bones, and get the meat off of the ribs easily. And it's just that quick, I've got my fillet. Now, I'm going to nip the edge of it right there with my fingernail and hold it down. I'm going to let the knife do the work. And I'm going to take the skin off of this. It's the only disadvantage of having this smaller knife is it's going to take me a pass or two to get the skin off. And there we go. Got my fillet right here. It's going to go into the water, get washed off, and then that'll be ready for the grease here in a second. And you can see those little Y bones stayed on the rib right there, or stayed on the skin right there. So those aren't going to be in there to start with. Now the most important part is the garbage disposal cap. Alrighty. And you just flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side here. It's the same process as on the other side. I'm just going to grab it in, come up and out of his head, spin him back around, come out the bottom, try to keep this in view. And it's just the same process as on the last one. Now we caught these fish, we took our kayaks out, we brought the camera with us, but we weren't able to get them on film. We weren't properly set up like we thought we were. And it also took us, what, 3 hours to get on the fish in the first place?
Yeah, 30 minutes to catch the rest of the fish.
We just got on a good school of them and wore them out, but the camera was already so far gone by the time we got there we weren't able to get anything on film. So hopefully one of these days we'll be able to get back out there and show them to you guys how we catch these. Or at least how I catch them and how Trenton tries.
They weren't liking me. Caught a few.
He just insulted their girlfriends or their mothers or something.
Sorry, I have that.
Tell them what trick you use.
Oh yeah, I'll show you the trick here in a second actually. It also helps to have a sharp knife, which I don't at the moment. But yeah, there's that fillet, and I want to show you this trick before I discard this and skin that. But one of the things that I did differently from him to help me catch a lot more fish today was I would take and I would pop a few scales off of some of the smaller ones that we kept right along the collar. And I would take and cut a little wedge of meat out. And I would run my hook through the skin so it would stay on there. And I don't know if it's the smell, if it's a little piece of something flapping there, but it definitely seemed to work today for me. So, the cat.
And that's on a regular curly tail jig?
That's just on a regular curly tail jig. The cat's going to get this. He can pick his way with what little bit's left. And I'm going to skin this one out. And it's the same thing as on the other side, just in reverse. And if you're on a wood table, you can also take a fork to hold down the skin, and it definitely helps to keep a good grip on it. There we go. Same as on the last one, rib bone stayed in, cat gets the skin.
Okay, so I'm gonna clean this fish with an electric knife instead of the fillet knife like Lane. And I'll go ahead and tell you, you don't get as much meat with an electric knife as you do a fillet knife. But if you got a lot of fish to be cleaning, it's a lot quicker. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start right here under his, right up under his fin right there. Cut down. Get it on down in there. And I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna find that backbone right there. I'm just gonna ride it down. See, you lose a lot of meat. Then I'm just gonna go right down the skin. There you go. Then I'm gonna cut these ribs out. You can do this with a fillet knife. That's not hard.
You can just have your buddy stand on the side and pass it to him. You can fry that up if you really want to.
And that's it. It's really quick. Now, that's what he got with the fillet knife, and that's what I got with the electric fillet knife. There's a big difference. I didn't do so hot. I didn't go so far down. I should have, but
we can also take that backbone when we get done, wash it up, throw it in the grease too.
Of course. So we're gonna flip it back over. Start there again. Go farther down so we get more meat. Find that backbone. Don't go too far on that backbone. There you go. Don't cut it all the way off, because then it'll be a pain to get the skin off. But just go to the tail and flip it over. And take the skin off.
Yeah, you don't want your fingers too close to those E-knife blades.
Yeah, no, it'll take them right off.
At least make it easy.
Yep. And that's it.
One thing I forgot to show you on mine, so I'm going to go ahead and show you on the carcass of Trenton's here. You don't get very much off of them with the crappie, but if you're cleaning something bigger, a walleye, a pike, which we don't have down here, a bass or catfish, something like that, the best piece of meat is this cheek piece right here. It's right underneath the eye. You can take your regular fillet knife. Stick it in there. Run it right around. And you can just take it and give it a quick slice right there down to the skin. Flip back over. You can peel it off of the skin with your fingernail. And like I said, you're not getting anything. It's not worth getting on these crappie. But if this was a bass that weighed about 1.5 pounds, a piece of meat would be almost that big. So it's worth getting it on some of the bigger fish.